Oh, I love, love, love my people at the Institute of Monteverde, but I'm gonna just say one thing. Looky here. You see that word right there? That's not good enough. Let me say why, if I may. Look at this. Somebody left. This is what I'm talking about here. Let me turn. Look at this beautiful maracuya fruit in here, and they left this here for the birds. That's what I'm talking about. An offering to give back some of the what this place gives. So much beauty, and I'm just grateful. So yeah, it's always good to give back. Okay, so I just want to say it's so easy to get distracted by the beauty of this just majestic, sacred place that I fell in love with before I got here, because I just heard so many good things about it, and well, it's important to protect this beautiful space. Anyway, okay, what was I saying about this word right here? That's a bad word, yo. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Um, I should give you guys this view. Can you see that? That's amazing over there. The sunset. What does that look like to you? I don't know. That looks like one of those big, like the flail. You know, the crook and the flail? So that kind of reminds me of. And then that little hunched over guy looking thing reminds me of the I forget the name of it, but it's some iconic figure of this Native American playing the flute. Anyway, you see it's really popular throughout Arizona. Okay, so before I get distracted again by the beautiful nature here, I'm going to say why sustainable is not good enough. So, if we were to say, describe a marathon runner, who goes and runs a race, say 30 kilometers, we'll just say a 30 kilometer, that's a marathon. If they ran like a marathon race and they were able over the course of that 30 kilometers able to sustain did you hear me? Sustain like, you know, maybe they were a little bit faster when they first started out, and then towards the end of the finish line it was a lot slower than what it was when it started, but the overall average they're able to sustain. Let's see, what we would call in the military a pretty good pace is a 7-minute mile, and I mean a pretty good pace. If you can sustain a 7-minute mile, and how many kilometers are there in a mile? I forget. I'm gonna say like, I don't know, 15, 16, somewhere in there. Then you're doing good. But that's marathon runner. At the end of that 30-kilometer marathon, the runner, no matter how good a shape he's in, is going to collapse and need resuscitation. You see how they if you just ask what does the word sustain mean, and then use it in a context that you could say apply it to another subject, because if the theory is appropriate and valid, it will apply again and again and again. It will be repeatable. It will obviously be measurable and observable, but it will also be repeatable. That's the scientific method, right? And in this case, you don't want, and then also we got to talk about the runner itself. If you want to break it down even further, you could talk about the runner himself and the training that he had to do, the preparation he had to do, the half marathons he had to do, the years that he or she spent getting ready for that marathon, is also, I mean, outside of the word sustainable, I just want to illustrate another aspect of this, using the same control group, which is the marathon runners. And I'm gonna just say that regenerative and renewable, smarter, faster, cheaper, less effort, more, I don't know how else to describe it. Well, yeah, that's the difference between regenerative, renewable, and sustainable. It's like if I just set something in motion and I just give it a very little bit of capital investment, or a very little bit of like in the sense of the canyamo, or even this bamboo here, for instance. I'm not sure. I bet it would make a really good biomaterial. I'm sure it would. But if not, vetiver makes an excellent biomaterial. And faster, cheaper, smarter, more effective, far superior product, and far superior delivery of the objective, or achieving of the objective, just in every single way. And not to mention cleaning the air, restoring the health of the soil, increasing the quantity and the quality of the agriculture that you produce, and thereby, if this is not always about the quantity, but it's more important the quality of the produce that's grown. Does it facilitate public health, or does it is it GMO seeds grown in monocropped soil with fake fertilizers? Like, obviously, if you have better nutrition, you're going to have better public health. So we're talking about massive decreases in government spending for the so-called health care. When people have a better public health, then they have better functioning, better cognitive ability, better physical abilities. They're operating more on their highest potential than they would do if they were sick, or not receiving the nutrition which causes the sickness, right? So you can't even put a price tag on this. You cannot even put a price tag. How do you put a price tag on public health, environmental health, increased productivity, quality as well as quantity of life? But you just can't. You can't put a price tag on that. That's not that's my objective, is putting a price. But I understand if you're pitching this to business, you have to put a price tag on it, and you have to illustrate the low-hanging fruit. You just can't put a price tag on this. You just can't. And then after 6 months, you harvest it. And this stuff here, I don't know. I think this is a type of bamboo. I'm not. Yeah, it's some kind of a cane. It does make a really good biomaterial. So there's just no shortage of solutions that nature puts right in front of our face. But yeah, I am a fan of the canyamo because of what it does with the air and the soil, and also because of its I'm talking about the original. Let me let you get the sunset in the background. Look at here. Vehicles like that would not be necessary think from a business perspective, if let's say for instance you're in the steel or the concrete industry, you wouldn't need bulldozers, you wouldn't need dynamite, you wouldn't need 50-ton trucks, and you wouldn't need I don't know how many tons. I think they're like 50 or more tons, probably more. Ton truck, the cement, the ones that turn the cement. You sure wouldn't need to pour arsenic down the middle of the inside of the mountain to separate the ore from the rock. You sure wouldn't need to haul that off to your well, if it's the steel industry, you wouldn't haul that off to several refining processes that are massively polluting, take up a huge footprint on the land, suck up a shed ton of electricity, and have to do what they do to separate, the iron from the ore, and the rock from the whatever that they use to make the concrete. And then of course that process in itself is very polluting. If you just think about it, Mother Earth has all that stuff on the inside of her because she doesn't intend for us to be breathing it. But oh no, that's okay. We can grind this up and pollute the air as long as the concrete industry puts a red flag out front to show you which way the wind is blowing. Doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing. That concrete factory's operating 24/7. Well, maybe not 24/7, but it's not operating with regard to which way the wind is blowing. Let me say that much. And regardless of which way the wind is blowing, eventually the sediment rests down onto the foliage and the flora of the place, and then when the wind picks up, it carries it. So either way, that's polluting the air. And then that's that's just to harvest and process it, never mind to manufacture and distribute and all this other stuff. Like, bruh, did you hear me? I said seed to harvest. 6 months. And you need a few guys with some machetes. If you want to get a small tractor involved and a couple of pickup trucks, that's about all you need to deliver the same product that you're delivering now, which is steel or concrete, but far superior. The steel doesn't rust, it doesn't expand and contract with the heat, and so therefore it does not create cracks in your walls. And did I mention it's 4 times lighter than regular steel? Or the hempcrete, which is likewise lighter than regular concrete, or perhaps it is, perhaps it's not. I'm not sure on that, but I know it is fireproof, and I know it is breathable, so you're not going to have mold getting trapped in the walls. You're going to have a more como se llama, like fresco. Your climate in the house is going to be fresher because it's passing through. It's nothing getting stagnant in there, nothing growing mold in there. And if you don't have this trapping of the heat and the humidity, then you're going to have a more steady. Even in the summertime, you don't need air conditioners. Maybe just a couple ceiling fans, and that's like when I'm saying summertime, I'm talking beach level summertime. I'm talking the hot, humid, sticky, full of mosquitoes summertime. All you would need is just some ceiling fans. I mean, how many BTUs is your air conditioning, and how many times, however many millions or hundreds of thousands of air conditioners you got running in a regional area? Think of all that. The British thermal unit is what BTU is. It's a measurement of the use of power. It's a lot. I mean, and I just yeah, again, another priceless benefit would be a better management of the dirty electricity systems that we have until such a time as free energy devices go. But I don't know about here so much in Costa Rica, but I know in Mexico we had power outages all the time, all the time. So, like, what's the answer? If you ask the average Mexican investor or Chinese investor in Mexico, they'll say the solution is to build another high-rise concrete building and install AC units in every one of the apartments or condos or whatever they call them, or hotel rooms. It's just retarded the way the way we do stuff is just retarded. Like, it's so retarded. That thing behind me, that was the original, you know, that's what I mean by dirty energy. And when they turned that on, I think I might have done a separate video on this, but when they turned that on, I believe it was at the turn of the 19th century, was it? In the United States, and they turned on that dirty energy. That was that generated a real, live, no kidding, for real pandemic. People were dropping dead in the streets because of that dirty energy. All right, so that's the other thing about living in a house that's made out of bioconstruction material, is that the energy inside your house is such that it protects you from the dirty energy, if that makes sense. Anyhow, I'm gonna just sit here and watch the sky, beautiful sunset, as you do in the mountains. It's probably got like another half hour till sunset on the beach, but up above all these cliffs, I don't know. It is just so beautiful here, and I mean, like I said, I just have to point out some things, some obvious things, and it's no secret. Of course, when I started talking about industries of the future 14, 15 years ago, no, I don't remember that there were any. Most of them started appearing like within a few years of my stating that that was my dream. Over and over and over again, I stated that's my dream. To have clean, renewable, not sustainable, regenerative businesses that clean the economy and create massive economic stability, eliminate gentrification, create strong manufacturing-based economies as opposed to weak and vulnerable service-based economies. Yeah, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I won't. I'll just say that I've been around a while and I know a few things, and it's all good. I'm here to share it with whoever is willing to work for peace and honor and integrity and a good relation with our Mother Earth and the sacred water and all the life, and with a good intention for the 7 future generations to know that everything we do that affects the 7 future generations. And so we do not move willy-nilly. That's a big responsibility. Wow, yo. So damn. And then you got the solution right in front of your face. I'm ranting because now I'm talking to the folks in Mexico that tried to kill me. It's all good, like, that's right. It's all good. Don't get mad. Just, I'm just the messenger, and anyway, it's okay. Sometimes the gringo has something important to say, anyway, I'm speaking to them when I say this again. It's these folks that, when you're ready, I make a space at the table for you. But here, I think I'm going to have a little more of a receptive audience, but I still am going to run into what I like to call the two primary Latin American seemingly unscalable walls or obstruction is the Catholicism and the slave master relationship. That's a tough one. I'm telling you, that is not easy. But I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna get through to somebody. I'm gonna get through to somebody. That it's okay to think outside the box. It's okay to have a different perspective. It's okay to question things. It's okay to ponder that I'm just gonna say it. It's a fact. It's a fact. And no matter where I go, it does not matter the country. It does not matter. Every country is the same. That the politicians and the so-called people who are our so-called leaders, yeah, that's what he has to say about it. He thinks it's very funny. They're some of the dumbest people on the planet. Why do you feel that you need to listen to them? Why do you feel you need to like literally sit aside while people like this beautiful bird and all these trees and all this nature and Mother Earth and the sacred water and every form of life gets destroyed? Oh my goodness. How did I just know it? I have to take this around because of my nawal. I don't know. Can we see you? No, of course not. Yes, what he said. Oh my goodness. I love the guacamaya was, well, that's not a guacamaya, that's a type of parrot. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Anyway, so easy to get distracted by the beauty here. But you know, just to emphasize my background vocals here. Yeah, there he goes. You know, like, do what we do for him. It's he's an original spirit of this forest, and we're just pasajeros, and we need to try a little harder, family. Even if it means that you have to disobey, or I don't know what people are so afraid of. But to me, when I look around at this beautiful nature here, and I remember that the entire world used to be this beautiful, right? And this is just the last sort of, it feels like this is like what they call the line in the sand, but it's not in the sand. It's being drawn for good. It will not move. If you go and destroy this place, then that's kind of like the tipping point for the world. Like there's at some point, you know, I don't know, just something needs to be left sacred. Look at this beautiful sky. You see that red underneath there? Just have a look at the clouds. Tell me what you see. If anything appears, you know, that's indicative of your dream. And what I see now is a bunch of light, airy, fluffy, white clouds that you would associate with a bright sunny day being pushed from the ground, it seems, up into the air to push up against the the otherwise ominous dark cloud that brings the cold and the rain, that brings the torment. That's what they call it in Spanish. Tormenta, that brings the storm. So we bring the storm upon ourselves, or we don't. The lowest common denominator of that fact is what is the relation that we have with the nature? What is the relation that we have with the sacred water, with nature in as a whole, with all other forms of life? What is the relationship that we have with that? Because whatever that relationship is, that will be sort of reflected in the mirror back for us. So in other words, stop your bitching and moaning about chemtrails and examine the ways in which you are predatory upon nature. I'm not saying anybody needs to start feeling guilty about nothing, because you know I sure won't say that, but I'm just gonna say, if your daily sort of lifestyle involves the suffering, and it requires the suffering and the violation of the free will choice of any other creature, be that a chicken, a cow, a pig, whatever, whatever it could be, that a sentient being that has to sacrifice itself for you, then because you want to prey upon it and you want to consume it, well, just know that the human being is not the top of the food chain. And know that the human being is the reflective nature of this sort of feedback loop that we're in. This, what they say was, what you put out is what you got coming back. It's like a boomerang, right? It's like a mirror reflection. Like, oh, that's how you are on the cows and the pigs and the chickens, and that's how you treat the sacred water of life, and you dump this chemicals in it and piss and shit in it without sending it through a biodigester and ideally a biodigester and a restructuring device, or a biodigester directly into the soil with in this kind of a way. But to have a good relation with the nature and all the life that surrounds us, it's just common sense. As above, so below, as within, so without. It's common sense that is, you reap what you sow. So you reap what you sow. So all right, now I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, as they say. I'm not gonna, why do they say that? I don't know. That's not nice. It's never nice to beat a horse, especially if he's dead. Anyway, but I do know where they get that saying from. So it's just, my point is not to belabor the subject, but just to remember that in everything, just remember that relationship that we have with the nature is going to determine everything else. Everything. So use discernment, choose wisely, and stop feeling that you need to continue to do things that you know are not nice and respectful and in a good relation with nature, and stop being fearful to consider that there's another perspective of that, just because your government or some politician or whatever might say that that's illegal. You're illegal. Please don't take this the wrong way. I don't get into politics in any country because I'm not into parasites. I understand who they are and I don't want nothing to do with them. But I understand the rest of the world, still uses this system. And if you do, I'm just saying, even the parasites can be useful, right? They can. But they just need to be able to change their perspective and consider things from a logical perspective. Like, yeah, it is true. Pretty much the whole world's been destroyed. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Now let's see if there might be another way. Of course there is. Anyway, let's break the spell of the petrochemical industry and the so-called industrial revolution writ large, and the 6,000-year-old Babylonian cursed money system. All of it. It's what I'm here to do, yo. So, making myself of service in this regard. Check this out. I'm gonna leave you with this. Look at this. So this is that plant. Look at that. You see the aura coming off of there? My friend over there. Oh my gosh. I'm just saying. This is beautiful. It's worth protecting and preserving. And we must have a good relation. We must have a good relation. Ahom and takyase.